Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be when you find this video. I wish you the best. To start off, I need to go over a definition, because the word and the definition, its meaning, is very critical to the foundation of thought in which I have upon certain issues. The word is stochastic terrorism, and its definition is the use of mass media by influential figures to demonize a person or group, indirectly provoking statistically probable but individually unpredictable acts of violence, often by quote-unquote lone wolf actors. These acts are not directly incited by the speaker, but result from the rhetorical climate created by frequent inflammatory and often vague or coded language that allows the speaker to maintain plausible deniability upon acts of violence that are carried out. A prominent speaker uses emotionally charged, hostile, and dehumanizing language against a particular group or individual to advance a political or social goal. This rhetoric is amplified through social media and traditional news outlets, reaching a large audience. Audience potentially primed by the speaker's message perceives the implicit solicitation of violence and acts upon it, resulting in an act of terrorism or violence. Because the incitement is indirect and often coded, the speaker can credibly disclaim responsibility, arguing that their words were merely heated rhetoric, rather than a direct call for violence. This phenomenon relies heavily on widespread reach and modern media platforms to spread rhetoric and create a climate of fear. That word allows us to understand the reflection of reality in society that we have today. It explains the past decade, but especially the past 6 years. So I can tell you what's going to happen next. It happened during World War II when we were attacked. It happened during September 11th when we were attacked. And it is happening now. We are uniting. We have awoken. The sleeping giant is now getting up. The fact is that you do not scare us. Not in the way that you want. We will not run and hide and cower in fear. You do not intimidate us. You disgust us. So, the actions that have been recently taken in the name of liberal rhetoric, you not only woke up America, but you woke up the world. You cannot skirt around the reality of suppressing the idea that someone is a dictator and a tyrant and a Nazi, a direct threat to our democratic republic, without having a certain portion of your constituents take action. Statistically, it is going to happen. So, in that regard, I refuse to believe that you are stupid. I refuse to believe that you do not know what you are doing, and that you have no idea why people are acting out in extreme violence towards other people, which just so happen to have different political views. It has been no secret, it has been proven multiple times, that you have financially compensated people of the Democratic Party in order to take place in protests and riots. Riots that have resulted in violence, burning down of buildings, businesses, police cars. People in your base have screamed at babies. The fact is that there has been violence on both sides, but it is not equal. Not in its occurrences, not in its timelines, and not in its rhetoric. I am not pleased with the results from the research that I have done on this issue, because I have absolutely found a massive disparity between the reporting of certain stories between all of the news media agencies. The point is, regardless of what the violence is the reaction to the violence. As conservatives, if we see one of our own that have acted in this way, we condemn them. We prosecute them in the court of law. There is something wrong with their behavior. We do not accept it. On the liberal end, you have consistently celebrated. You have cheered. Every single citizen in this United States has certain unalienable rights. That means unchanging and untouchable. The first of that is life. We all deserve life. That is a right that you do not have the authority to take away. But you seem to try. On full display, you have shown us exactly what you think in your heart. You have come to the belief that the conservative and the liberal mentalities cannot coexist within the same society. We are incompatible within your mindset. Therefore, we must be silenced. We must be persecuted. We must be indoctrinated. And if that fails, we must be eradicated. That is what your actions display. That is not what your talking points are. But it does seem that your talking points do fall within the category of a certain definition. Your display of refusal to accept reality and to also look in the mirror, combined with the belief that you were morally superior to anyone that disagrees with your viewpoint, is resulting in the violence that is being perpetrated by people of your party consistently and more frequently. You boldly lie to our faces. You do not tell the truth. You clip and you edit and you manipulate stories in order to sell your viewpoint. You take away any possibility of critical thinking. You scream and you insult anybody at anybody that might disagree with you. You do not let them talk within debates. You interrupt. You manipulate interviews that you need to shadow the incompetency of the person being interviewed, just because they believe in the same rhetoric and mentality that you have. Everything that you do is based on a lie. Now, the actions that prove this is your cancel culture. You genuinely want to remove anybody from a platform that might have influence that is logical against your illogical viewpoint. Now, I am old enough now to remember. You openly celebrated the death of Rush Limbaugh. You believed that the conservative movement, its foundation, had been broken. And it was just falling apart. Which, if you had read between the lines, you would have understood that created a vacuum. And he was replaced. He was replaced by multiple people. A broader set of people. And now you have openly celebrated the death of a husband and a father that you just happen to disagree with because he was vocal, because he believed in what he said, because he had done the work within himself to find common logical ground that would allow policies to be constructed that would actually be the benefit to our society as a whole. You murdered him also because you couldn't ever control him. Because he served God. He tried to explain to people who were lost and feeling hopeless and alone how much love and forgiveness that you could acquire within his religion. And the benefits of even just looking into that, let alone following it. You could not shame him into changing his beliefs. He was untouchable to your system, to your propaganda. And he saw it for what it was. That is why you murdered him. There is a consistent pattern here that has been over the span of 50 years. And it's been like a diesel. It was just getting warmed up. And now it was going full steam ahead. But the conclusion that I have come to is that for the rest of my life, I can no longer trust you. I cannot trust you to make decisions for the well-being of not only my family, but my neighbors, my friends, and the people that I may have a disagreement with over their viewpoints. I can't trust you with the laws because you despise our rights. You see them as irritations that are in your way. You view the Constitution as a virus and as a plague that needs to be systematically destroyed, sentence by sentence. I can't trust you with money because all in all, on either side of the spectrum, it is completely undeniable that the fiscal irresponsibility of the people who have been in power for the past 30 years has been absolutely unbelievable. The unethical and immoral, shady dealings that we have bore witness to are innumerable. And you know what the actions are that prove this is that the fastest way to become a multimillionaire is to become an elected official of public service. That is not what that office is supposed to be. It doesn't fast track your success. It is supposed to be a burden. And here's the other thing. When you're a manager and your employees really screw up, it's on you. You're in charge. It's your fault. The consequences fall on you. You have manipulated the tax code to such an extent that companies had no choice but to completely disregard any type of loyalty that they would have had to their employees because it doesn't make sense in a business manner. You have manipulated it so badly that we can't buy houses and property anymore. And if we can, we're going to be in debt for the rest of our life. Which, in terms of definition, the word mortgage, that should light up a light bulb when you learn that one, if you don't know it already. I can't trust you when you say you want the best for our future. Anyone's future. You have manipulated our educational system from renowned stations of critical thinking to propaganda machines. A revolving door where the students come in and they are force-fed what you want them to hear and nothing else, and then go out into the world and spew it. And how dare they challenge this within? It is impossible to be successful in the educational arena if you disagree with your professor. That is called indoctrination, no matter what style or viewpoint of governance that you have. You have manipulated the healthcare industry in this country so badly that doctors are no longer practicing medicine that they spent 20 years of their life or close to it being educated about. They're not allowed to do it. They're only allowed to do what the insurance companies give them clearance to do. And if they choose not to follow those quote-unquote recommendations, well, that 15 or 20 years worth of education, it's not worth anything anymore if you can't work in the industry. Fear and manipulation. That is how you work. You have been absolutely crystal clear with your intentions, by your actions. Because the only reason you would have gone down that road is because you can't make any money off of a healthy population, out of a strong population, out of a grounded population who can think. So, in that regard, in that understanding, I have come to another conclusion that the biggest virtue that you have in your reality is the pursuit of power and wealth. It is above everything else. It leaves no room for ethical decisions or morality for your fellow man. It scrubs away all forms of love that you might feel for people who are, quote unquote, beneath you. But because of this mindset, you have not only lost power, you have lost the ability to manipulate, even with all of your wealth and your outreach and the media that you own. We're not listening anymore. We're thinking. We see it for what it is, not what you want it to be. In reality, every single choice that you make is going to have consequences, either good or bad. Every single day you are going to make decisions that involve risk. That is life. That is natural law. You cannot circumvent it. And yet you sell an idea that you have the power to remove risk from life, to create a utopia. If only we give you the power. And in that world that you sell, there is no reason for self-analysis or critical thinking, self-awareness, personal reflection, personal responsibility. And anyone who thinks differently, they had better be punished. They had better be put in their place. Every single one of us is flawed. None of us are perfect. We are incapable of creating a utopia. It's not possible. And so the days and the times that you have enjoyed being able to manipulate and gaslight all of us, those days died with Charlie. You have absolutely underestimated the effect that this has had on all of us. Not only in America, but the world. And you're watching it now. You thought that this would silence our voice. That we would silently cower in the corner. Sort of like the New York sniper. You remember when we all didn't want to go outside? It's very similar than that, a little bit more subtle, I'd say, but the effect, that's what you're going for. But I guarantee you right now, we are not going to react in violence. We are not going to riot. We are not going to burn down cities. We are not going to burn our businesses, our neighbors' homes. We're not going to beat people that think differently than us, that have different viewpoints. We're not going to do this. We don't have to. We as civilized adults, we are going to start making changes in our own lives. We are going to stop being as tolerant as we have been in the past because we see the immediate results of that decision. And it's not worth it. Our principles and our values are responsible for creating the greatest country that the world has ever seen. It is because we pray and we serve a God that is loving and forgiving. And through all his love and his forgiveness, he is also one thing. He is intolerant of evil, and he instructs us to do the same. So no, you cannot make us serve you. We have one master. The flip side of this, your view, your cancel culture, it provides no forgiveness and zero chance of redemption. We are going to start paying very close attention to everything that you do. Some of us have already taken up this torch because you have gotten into the habit of trying to scrub the internet. The internet is forever. And we are saving all of it. I hope you're ready, because we will no longer settle for talking points, for labels. You must articulate how you are going to actually fix issues before we will even consider going to the ballot box. You're not going to demonize your opposition in order to win the race. No. I want to know exactly how you are going to implement your policy step by step. So get used to making a blueprint and exposing it to the world. I will not settle for less. You are going to have to become capable of a structured and respectful conversation and debate. The days of interrupting somebody to the point where they might as well not even be on your show or in your newsroom, those are over. You do it, I'm not watching. I'm not listening. I'm shutting you off. I'm cutting you out. Your behavior is completely toxic. And I don't have any room in my life for poison. Your pure adherence to feelings and virtue signaling and heated rhetoric are causing death. You no longer have a mindset that is functional within society. It is detrimental to our society. And just so you understand, We all live in the same society. How do you think you're going to be sheltered from this storm in which you have helped create? This is not a tornado. It's not hitting one house and bypassing the other. This is a hurricane. Everybody's getting some. In order to have a reasonable opinion on an issue, you have to be able to articulate and debate both sides. Only then can you at least have a structured understanding of the problem that you are actually trying to address. If you are incapable of doing this, don't even run for office. I'm not going to waste my time. And speaking of running for office, here's an idea. Every single person, I don't care what side of the aisle, every single one of you, at minimum 3 separate psychological evaluations from 3 different institutions not run and not controlled by the insurance companies. And the results are public. You are a public servant. We need to know who you are. Because just trusting you ain't cutting it anymore. Your mask that you have worn for decades, hey, it's off. We see you. There is no more hiding in the shadows. Especially you running the NGOs. We are wide awake. Wide awake. And because of that, we have an absolute crystal clear understanding of what we're dealing with. As for our systems that we already have, our courts and our system of law are the absolute best in the world. In terms of statistical fairness, as long as the judges and the people in power wielding that power adhere specifically to the laws and do not incorporate emotions or political rhetoric or activism. When that occurs, the system breaks. Which, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of broken glass in the China shop right now. Every single city in every single state in this country has a war on poverty, a war on drugs. It has been going on for 50, 60 years. And the ones who have failed the worst, because we're not going to solve it, the ones who have failed the worst almost 100% of the time are led by liberal agendas. That is in ink. That is statistical logic and analysis. You cannot hide that, or you cannot gaslight me into believing otherwise. The worst budgets and deficits, they are run by the liberal agenda. There is an undeniable pattern here. Completely undeniable. Unless, like a narcissist, you absolutely just can't get a grasp on what the hell is happening in reality. There are always going to be problems in every single society, in every single style of governance that we can create. There is no perfect utopia. And there never will be. Not here on Earth. The idea that that is achievable is causing people to kill other people. Because the people who believe it is possible are under the impression that the people who disagree with them are preventing everyone from getting there. So the only way to get there is through violence. Physical removal. So there are new boundaries and there are new rules now. And I know that a lot of you are just going to shrug this off. You are not going to entertain this. It has become, unfortunately, very clear that your behavior and your willingness to resort to heated rhetoric ending in statistical probable violence is becoming your default. Which, if you look at just the facts, that is exactly what Nazi Germany did. That is their playbook. Create a sense of intolerance, persecute, indoctrinate, eradicate. That is what they did. The very things that you have accused others of doing, you have now become the proponent of making sure that they happen. For the rest of my life, I am going to vote in every single election. I am going to participate as much as I can in my local authorities, into the mode of operations that our societies run on. I am going to pay attention to what my local state Congress is doing, the Senate. I am going to learn all of your names, who you are, how much you were worth before you started, and how much you're worth now. For a long time, you have held the torch. You have made the rules. And you have tried to erase anybody who questions your way. I am glad to say that that time is over. We are returning to reality. The age of tyranny is coming to an end in this country. Everyone needs to participate. It doesn't matter what your viewpoints are right now. It matters what you do starting tomorrow morning. Who you choose to pay attention to and how you pay attention to them. No longer can you afford to blindly accept what somebody is saying. You must take the time to research and find your own facts. Find them from multiple sources. Make sure that the platform that you are paying attention to is actually doing its due diligence to be honest and fair. When we all participate in that mode of behavior, our lives are going to change so fast. Everything is going to get so much better. The level of hate is going to disappear. I thank you all for your time. It is the one thing that we do not get back and we cannot make more of. So again, thank you. I hope you have a blessed day.